Welcome to another edition of Modern Explorers Live. I'm Jay in California, joined by Mick. Really, Mick is just joined by me. Mick in Nasjo, Sweden. Mick, where are you? Aside from Nasjo, Sweden.
There, Nasjo, however you pronounce that. Where am I specifically? At a really quite amazing site, to be honest with you. There's some stuff here I've not ever seen before. There's a dolmen circle, which we're going to have a look at over there. Looks like 12, 13 stone circles. You can probably see this one here. This is the first. And then behind, you'll see, it looks like, I imagine, if you can see it, I don't know if you can, but it probably just looks like a load of stones. But that's actually about 5 stone circles in itself. And then there's another patch over there where, again, from here, it just looks like stones, but it's actually, again, another 5 stone circles and a cairn. And one of the circles is made up of 6 baby little dolmen, which I've never seen before. And I'd like to know if it's actually it's not modern, because we've seen this one time before, Jay. Do you remember? We went to Cairnpepple Hill in Scotland, and we saw that little baby dolmen, and we were filming it. And then we looked up and we realised it was made in 1990 or something.
Right.
It reminded me of that, because I've never seen anything like it. As I said, we'll walk over there in a minute. So yeah, it's an amazing site. It really is. I don't know how you pronounce it. Fagerstofta or something like that.
Fagerstofta burial ground.
Yeah. And behind where the bone is, for about another 50, 60, 70 meters, right off in that direction there. Again, I'll show when I turn the camera around. It's just burial grounds. It's like stones and little bumps, and you can just tell it's a great big burial ground, basically. Right. So we're supposed to have Athena joining us. Athena is somebody I met in Jordan. We want to make this into something where people can join, guests, that kind of thing. But I don't know what she's doing. She's messaging me at the minute saying I'm here, Jay. So hopefully she'll join
as long
in a minute.
She's got the login info, we should be good. And we hope she can join us. Until then, we're gonna circle around with the drone here, and the dolmen circle, 6 dolmen in a circle. You know, it's weird. It doesn't add up. Everything else is 7, 9, or more. This one's interesting because it's like it's like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 in the first ring, 7 in the second, 9, and then 9 again. So it's odd to see 6 little dolmen, and then you have all these other little, fixtures throughout that don't make a lot of sense. Yeah, it's fascinating. The Cairnpepple Hill comparison is interesting. That's, if you haven't seen Cairnpepple Hill, strongly recommend. Maybe we should do dig up our footage on it and do a little video on it. But Cairnpepple Hill is atop a huge, just a massive mound on top of this hill, and then it's right next to this outpost / cell tower. Yeah, but it's you can see in Cairnpepple there's just like all these stone rings, around pits, around holes, and you can tell it was an outpost during the Crusades probably, and who knows even how much back farther, whatever. But I mean, this thing goes back, well into the early days of kings and queens of England, for use, and then obviously
for sure. But the dolmen we saw didn't.
But then so we were at the top of this hill, and we look out, and we're like, oh my god, look over there is a field, stone circles over there in the field. And so we drove all the way over to it, and when you get there, it was 1.5 feet tall. Like the whole place was 1.5 feet tall. And I'm here in Athena. I think we're getting joined by, I guess I'm going to switch over here. But anyway, it was built for a farmer as a tribute, right, in the 90s.
Toy.
So it was total letdown. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome Athena. As I switch over. Hello, Athena.
How are you? Thanks for having me.
Good. Thanks for joining us. Mick, where are you
Sorry,
again?
we had to start, Athena. I mean, Fagger's Torfta. You'll be able to see, as I was saying, like, this is all just, look at this, this is all just burial, little bumps, like where there's probably bodies. And then we've got stone circle. So, sorry, Athena, it's my bad for not sending you the proper link. So, sorry
it's no problem.
I'm doing some research, haven't you, about this site?
Yes. Well, I just looked online at what some of the people were saying about it, and what have you said so far? Sorry, I missed the beginning.
Oh, we've really just been talking about other sites, but the structure of dolmens caught our eye, and the count of stones is a bit off. So we're curious about that.
Yeah, okay, I'll tell you what, why don't I do a little tour, and then then we can, because there's a bit of a delay as well. Like the internet here is really shocking. So if I just do a big long monologue and a little walk around, hopefully I've got enough internet to keep us live. So this is the first stone circle. All right, I saw some people with dowsing rods earlier, a man and a woman, and they used their rods. And they then had a lie down right where the camera is pointing to now. So Sweden is very much, well, there's a lot of people. It's a bit like Poland, where there are people into their sort of ley line energies and the dowsing and all of that kind of thing. And so it's interesting to see those guys. Jay, there's some of the drone footage. It's obvious. There's two shots of drone footage. There's one of this bunch of stone circles here, and then there's others of this bunch of stone circles over here. It's really obvious which is which because you've got a big round pile of stones at this one where the dolmen is. I'm going to have a quick look at this one first, if you could get the drone shots up, because as I say, from here it doesn't look like circles at all, but no, this is the other one.
Okay, got that up.
So it just looks like from here, a bunch of stones.
Right.
Yeah, but from the top you can see from above, they're very circular, aren't they? Really, very circular.
5 rings, an odd recumbent stone,
we've got
a triangle. There's more to the right even.
Yeah.
There's like a central fixture.
One of them's really tall.
With a menhir, right?
Where's the name? Where's my thing? I'm trying to point. This one here is really tall. That's tall. The rest are quite short. This here is like, you can see the stones going off. It's like a bit like one of these burial chambers, but it's like womb shaped.
Yeah.
Again, I'm not sure if there's drone footage of this, but it's like a triangle, really curved sides to it, and then 2 massive megaliths in the middle.
Yeah, and you can see that here.
I don't know what the story is.
You can just see that shaping of this triangle, this like runic shape almost, and then it looks like there's even more circles to the right of it there. If you look down in the lower window of the video here, just around where the play bar is. So it looks like that menhir that you see, that big wall menhir that's in that weird triangle of stones, which looks considerably newer, I think. There's more circles to the right, perhaps. This is unlike anything. And you can see it goes off into the trees as well.
I mean, that looks like a sundial, doesn't it? Yeah. I mean, I'm just thinking.
Yeah, this is actually one that I think would be really cool to see from far above.
But I'm not tall.
There you go.
Yeah.
Well,
I mean, flying the drone was actually.
Go on.
No, you go.
Oh, I was just saying, it said I found some comments of people that had been to the site, and they said that the Fagertafa burial field contains the 42 visible grades in addition to the judges' rings. There are stone circles, stone settings, and a cairn and a trident. So I'm not sure what the judges' rings are. Can you see what that would be?
Those are every ring, apparently. They're saying every stone circle is a ring for judges and judgment. Now we're talking about, like, I mean, this feels like you'd walk up. This is like the sideshow. So like to me, this is absurd to think that this is all for judgment. Like, this would have to be burial of, because, like, why would you have all these people and all these courts going on next to each other?
It could be because it also said something about the fire burials, that they would have a fire burial, whether it was a sacrifice or they would just bury somebody and then set them on fire. Maybe that has something to do with the judges' rings, like you're judged and burned.
Right. So this has been excavated, though, right? This site has been cleaned up.
Sorry, man. There's such a delay on this thing.
Bummer.
It's a really. I want to just say that there's layers and layers of history here as well. Like, with so much having happened here. So when you talk about judges sitting on top of these dolmen, it probably happened. When you talk about sacrifices happening here, it probably happened. When you can pretty much come up with anything that probably happened here. I bet there was weddings here. I bet there was christening type things and a lot of burials. But was that the personally, they've been used so much that they've been used for so many different things, and what was the original purpose? Can't believe this circle of dolmen.
Yeah, that's bizarre.
Yeah, it is bizarre. I found some information. Maybe you had already said this, Bo, that it was restored in 1941 to 1942.
Interesting.
And that was commenting on the small dolmen ring that was restored. Yeah,
that's curious. I'll be honest with you. As cool as it is, it doesn't make sense. Like, that's the one thing that sticks out. 6 dolmen, in such a way. It's.
It could have been
silly.
the elders, though. Like, if there were the 6 top ones that were ruling, and then they were so important, so they created a dolmen. Isn't often that the dolmens are burial chambers as well, and the fact that they're so small. Is that where, Mick, I was wondering, is that where the couple was laying inside of that particular one?
No, it was the first one. So there's basically, it's almost like 3 years of circles. You've got this area here where there's the dolmen, the cairn, and I think it's 5 circles. Then you've got that other area that I was just at, and then the third is just a circle on its own, but with lots of like little mounds around. So they were in that one. It's actually from the car park. It's the first one you come to. You walk down the path, you come to that one on its own, and then you can split. You kind of go to that thing that's triangular, or trident shaped. I didn't know that was the word, but trident. And then either side of that, you've got these collections. But the judges, like I said, the judges thing. There are signs that they've been doing that little chip out of the rock. We've been seeing that all over the circles in this part of the world, Athena. Like, there's this story of the judges sitting on the stones, and that there's always an odd number of stones, so that there's always a decision either way, And so it's a story we've heard a lot, but it comes back from the Germanic tribes from like 4,000 years ago, or 4,000 BC, and this site is, I think, a mixture of megalithic and quite modern, this Germanic tribe. I bet if they've done carbon dating and dating of this site, it must be very layered. I bet there's things from every age at this place.
Interesting.
There's an 18...
So what I found about there was a museum that wrote about this, and they were talking about the dolmen ring, and they were saying that there was the judgment seat. So maybe that was the first stone that you saw, is the judgment seat. And then it said that the judges' ring were marked by 6 raised stone structures, 3 stones, underlays, and a 4th on top. And the burial structure was called the Lying Hen. Have you heard of that?
No. Where were you seeing this information?
It's on the John Coping's Lance Museum website.
Okay. Right.
And then it said,
because I feel like
the Fagertofta burial contains the 42 graves. In addition to the judges' rings, there are stone circles, stone settings, and a cairn and a trident. And they're dated from the Roman age migration period from 0 to 550 AD. And they're probably older and originate from the Bronze Age, 1800 to 500 BC. And the cairn is a rectangular stone coffin, which was discovered when the burial ground was restored in the early 1940s. And they found burned bones, charcoal, and ashes that were also then found in the graves, which shows that they were graves. And there was no other graves found closer. So that area was probably the graves that had to do with the fire burning.
And they did find in one of the other stone circles near you. I don't know how close. We'll have to look this up. But there was one that they found. It was like a 20 plus stone circle where they found someone when they excavated inside, burned, right? But the body had a glass cup, which was interesting. It also had like a comb, like a bone comb.
Right.
Yeah. And a sharpening stone, which we remember reading that they would leave them with sharpening stones and trinkets and stuff. But then the cup was interesting. A cup made of glass, which, you know, when you pair that with bone, I mean, you're talking about Stone Age for sure, right? That's not more modern. That's probably obsidian or, you know, some like lava based glass, like I don't know how you would come across it or do it, but I mean that's let's see, where was that was
no, I've got no idea personally. If people watch this and they do know, then please comment and please join in. Like,
supposedly there's a well there. It was a sacrificial well.
Any idea where that is?
It should be in that area, and it's
that's all right. Don't worry.
They call it the midsummer well. So people would drink water and wash during the midsummer night, and but they say be careful because when you're walking around those stone circles, because the legend has it that it'll make you ill. So be careful.
Right. Okay. It's probably
don't drink the water.
Don't drink the water.
No, I won't.
So just to show you where this is just a map of how far you are. But you're like 3 hours drive. But that's where the ring with the burned person was found.
Right. But we're finding that every site we've been to, I think so far there has been some form of like cremated remains. There's been combs we've seen a few times. The amber, remember at Vrangstad we would leave amber at their burial sites, and so they find amber at a lot of these. And see what I was thinking and what we were trying to say yesterday, it didn't go very well, the show yesterday, did it? We had all sorts of hiccups, but we were coming to the conclusion that there was a lot of stone sites here before the sort of like Germanic tribes and those came along and used them as burial sites. Because, you know, I go to these dolmen around the world and they don't really find any remains. You know, they might find a little piece of bone or a little bit of clay pottery, and I want, if it's a tomb that's 5,000 years old, I want a skeleton there. You know, how much decay has happened in this time? But we haven't seen that, have we? In like France and Spain and Portugal, there's a real lack of like artifacts and remains and things. But here, in Sweden, and there's like we went to one site, Athena, and they found the cremated remains of 80 different bodies. We've seen this comb thing, these amber things. Like, it definitely seems like in this area there's a link between the megalithic sites, the dolmen, the circles, and them being burial chambers. But it's probably a later civilization. The Germanic tribes, we were saying yesterday, the Germanic tribes, they did this thing. They had the assembly with the judges. It was called the Thing. We've seen that at signs in Sweden, and that's a Germanic tribes thing. So the Germanic tribes have come up into Scandinavia, whatever it was, 5,000 years ago. I don't know the dates. And there's been megalithic sites here, and they've used them. They would have like hold them in prestige and thought, wow, what an amazing thing. Let's go there. We'll treat it as sacred. We'll make our decisions and, turn it into a burial chamber, or burial ground, I should say.
We went to that.
And that's what's happened.
We went to that Dolmen Museum as well in the Netherlands, and it was full of artifacts. And by full, I mean 7, maybe 10. But it was a large enough collection where you're like, wow, there's a lot of different used artifacts here, like the spiked balls and the carved game pieces and toys or whatever. Like these are things that aren't. Mm-hmm. They didn't feel like burial items. They felt like things. Right, like just things. Yeah. And anybody can tell you how easy it is to lose a thing. Things are like borrowed by our presence on this earth, and then they move on to somebody else's presence on this earth. So things travel through time, and it's just so weird how few things we get to see from these sites. Where's all their stuff? Right. Where's all their where is it?
Yeah, it's very small amounts.
Yeah.
There'll be in 5,000 years' time. There'll be carbon dating car keys.
Yeah. And Wendy's cups and McDonald's Happy Meal
socks,
burgers.
Yeah.
Well,
so I think here, like with this.
Go on.
No, you go, Athena. Your turn.
Oh, I was just saying, when I'm looking seeing the aerial footage of the circles, that they're not exactly perfect, which makes me wonder, why is that on accident, or is it just because if they were burial that they simply just dug a hole and put it, or does it have something to do with the ley lines, how we brought in that before, that they're working with the energy lines.
What? That's really funny you should say that, because I was thinking how good the circles are, because the thing that I've noticed from so many circles that I've been to, they're very rarely a perfect circle. Oblongs and bented ones, and looking at these from above, I was like, they look like really good circles.
Excavated, restored. The second you hear excavated and restored, you can't take any of it as authentic anymore. There's no evidence. There's no photos. You did it in 1940. Did anybody take a picture? Did anybody?
Maybe we could look it up.
Yeah, where is it though?
But with all these circles though, you have the cairn in the middle, but if we're looking at it right now, how you have it. Okay, stop. There's nothing above, like in the north direction. You see, they're all around. It almost looks like a giant butterfly.
Yeah, that's what somebody in the comments said.
Which way is north?
Well, I'm just saying, the photo that I'm seeing right now, if the way that it is, we're seeing the cairn in the middle, and we're seeing the two stone circles out to the left and the right, and then a couple of others, 3 others down below that. But there's nothing on the other side. It's just a line of trees.
I think that's just where they stopped. I think that's looking to the south. So I think we're looking straight to the south here, judging by the map. It's hard to tell because of the beautiful evergreen shadows. But and I got to tell you, whatever high noon is there, whenever the sun is at its highest peak, that's a good time to drone as well, because you'll start, the tree shadows will stop blocking everything, and you can start to see more around. But I would do another flight.
Get it out again for sure.
Yeah, I would go a little higher, because what I see when I look at this footage is I see a tree line that's manicured. Athena, you're totally right. Like it just stops, and it stops because that's like the end of like, all right, the park can stop here, right? Like a lot of the times you got to take into account the worker, and like what, and like they're like, yeah, this is good enough. Because in the other one where we go to that stone circle that's got it's got that weird standing stone here. You can see inside that triangle of smaller stones, and then there's rings everywhere. If you look in the trees here, it's nothing but stones, right? Like there's a ring here, a circle here, another circle here, and then if you play it, there's not a lot of movement on this shot, but you can see here stones here. So I would bet if you headed into the trees over here to the east, you just find nothing but. And if you look at the map, if we zoom out of the map, this whole area is just forested, heavily forested. Watch out for, what do they got in there? Boars, bears?
Well, you got to think the trees also, they're not as old as these stones, so that would make sense that the trees just, grew.
Yeah. Oh, totally.
Around, through the stones. Are you able to go into the forest there to see any of those? If there are they? Did you go walk into the forest to see if they were rings there, or they're just random rocks? Because that might be the other circle that I was saying. You know what I'm saying?
Okay. Yeah. Well, we can do that in a minute. I wanted to point out one thing that I've just noticed is that some of the stone circles look more megalithic than others. These ones, like for example, this I can imagine in Spain or Scotland or France. This type of rock, the size. These ones, look at that one in the background there. They're made out of little stones. Like we could make that, Jay.
Sure.
The one in the background there. Like this one, I'm not lifting that stone, not easily. So it's almost like different ages even within the stone circles.
Could be.
But I don't know.
Dwindling energies over a long period of time, and if you look too, there's like a lot of clearing. And there's even more stone circles there. You can see them on the map. Here's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. So there's a little one there to your north. More mounds to your west. It looks just like dense. If you go into the grasslands here, I'm sure some of these probably are circles and some are probably trees, but dense.
Well, and if people were going there during the midsummer night, I mean, there was for the little research I was able to do, they always mentioned that about them gathering there to drink water and wash up for their ceremony. So I don't know. Maybe you guys know about the midsummer night. Maybe that's where they had trials, why they needed the judgment there.
Yeah.
And what is the purpose of the judge stone? Would they just sit on the stone? Or was the stone itself a judge?
Interesting.
Point.
Yeah, that's a good take.
Yeah.
I don't know. There's a lot of trees, man. I just go for a nice stroll if I were you. I'd head east. Southeast.
Head east.
Head southeast and see what you see.
I wanted to just quickly say, actually, my phone started overheating again, by the way.
Yeah,
so
we should wipe it. Wrap it up. Yeah.
I'm back here in 2 days' time. So when I made the film in Sweden last time, I met a lady who's really into the ley line energies and makes maps of them. And I'm meeting her here on Wednesday. So hopefully she'd be interested in joining us and we could talk more about this. So we can do that. I'll go into the trees. I'll have a look around. If you guys can send me, I don't know what you're talking about. I can't see my phone, so I don't know what you're talking about, but I will do that for sure.
Yeah, and find the well, because that well seems very interesting. Because I don't know if you recall, but back when I was in Jordan, there was a haunted well, and that was as that kind of validates what I was picking up about this haunted well in Jordan, where they would make sacrifices also. So we could ask her about that.
You can only imagine what that would do to the water.
Exactly. And why you would want to go there, have a pilgrimage and drink from that when before it was a sacrificial well. Except for if maybe you didn't know, because the eras were such great gaps, you know, maybe long ago it was a sacrificial well, and then later pilgrims would go there and drink from the well because they needed water. But we can try and do some more research on that, and maybe this lady that you're going to be interviewing will have some information.
Well, she's much like yourself. She is an absolute wealth of knowledge, and a very good heart, much like yourself as well, Athena.
Thank you.
Cool. With that, let's close it out. Athena, thank you for joining us. We appreciate your time and appreciate having you here. And we'll have you on again, of course. Mick, any closing thoughts from Nasjo?
No, honestly, I wasn't expecting a dolmen circle. I'm almost like in shock a little bit. Awesome. How cool it looks. I've just rebuilt the website, and I'm very like looking up and eyeing up photos and looking at that 6 little baby dolmen in a circle. It's just brilliant. So I love this site. It's really beautiful. The energy's nice, calming. It's very peaceful here. So thank you for joining us. People will have, if you're watching this after we've done it live, and please comment. We're looking to do more of these. We're looking to make this better. We're practicing at the moment. I think having you on, Athena, has been really brilliant, in my opinion. Great. So thank you. So, subscribe, all of those kind of things, and we'll see you next time.
That's right. Visit us on modernexplorers.co.uk, and that's just how you spell it out there on the search bar. And then you'll get all the notifications if you like and follow and subscribe of when we go live. Sometimes we are on the Instagrams, and Mick will do smaller videos on there that are more quick, kind of like in the moment, as well as possible lives from various locations. We're playing with that. YouTube, of course, there's a ton of videos that we made over the years. Please like, share, and enjoy those. And we'll see you again next time. Thanks for watching, everybody.
Thank you. Thanks for exploring this, Mick. It's impressive.
Yeah,
very impressive.
All right, folks. See you next time.
Bye.
Pleasure.
Thank you, Jay.
Thanks, Athena.
Thank you, everybody.
See ya.